journalism schools or programs in Mexico for my Spanish 202 class. I found 3 different schools or programs within colleges in Mexico that do different types of journalism degrees. So the first one I found was Escuela de Periodismo Carlos Cipeña Garcia. This school was founded on May 30th in 1949. It also is one of the... this is going to be the second oldest school that I found, but it's also the only school... It's one of the few schools that I've found that is only a standalone journalism school. To get in, you have to take exams. This is kind of standard across all the schools, admission exams, but there's multiple exams you have to take to get in. There's 8 semesters or 4 years. It breaks it down as 8 semesters when you're visiting the website. There are different forms of journalism they offer, which includes radio, written, television. But then when you also look at it, they also offer different types of ways you can get involved that are maybe at a scale where you're more behind the scenes as well. Then there's the grading system, which is consistent around all universities, which is 1 to 100. 70 is the minimum passing grade at the school. But I could not find actually how many units were used in the school, but my guess is it's going to be 8 because it seems to be relative how many each class is worth when I was looking at the other universities, but it was kind of difficult to find. It was also difficult to find, and I couldn't find how many students go to the school as well. But some types of classes they have is history of journalism, which is thorough history of journalism, new technology in journalism, which goes over how the new technology is affecting journalism and why they need to incorporate it as a journalist. Photography, which is obviously learning how to take pictures. There's a couple different classes of that. There's like a photography 1 and photography 2. News and interview on radio and television basically means that you're either out in the field or you're learning how to do interviews on radio, television, and there's even newspaper writing in that as well. Newscast television, which is practicing on being a newscaster on television, and audiovisual production is behind the scenes, learning how to do control the mechanisms for audio and visual for television. The next one that I found was a Tecnológico de Monterrey. So this college has a degree in journalism. Doesn't have a journalism school standalone. They were founded in 1943. It's actually the oldest one on here. And there's 89,000 students that go to the school as of 2018. There's 8 semesters, 4 years for the journalism degree. Internships are required. Unlike the last one, they were not required. This one, they are required for you to take an internship. The grading scale is the exact same. 1 to 100, 70 is the passing grade. 90 to 100 is an A. 80 to 89 is a B. It's very similar to our grading system, except the minimum passing grade is a 70, so anything below that is bad. So they actually have a higher level, way of that people have to get to pass the classes. 8 units is the measurement they use for the courses, which is equivalent to 3 credit course in the United States. Types of classes. This one was very different. The classes were very similar in a way, so I kind of just picked 4 that I thought were kind of different. Theory of communication, which is a whole class about how communication works and whatnot. A study of political science, which is key for if you're going to be a political journalist. There's also humanities and fine arts, which basically, to me, sounds less journalistic, but I guess it has to do with how fine arts, if you're going to be in the magazine portion of journalism, and the entertainment side, food side, I guess that's kind of where it would be at. And then practice in the field, which is kind of the internship type thing, where you're actually in the field. They take the last 2 semesters, semester 7 and 8, and you're just constantly in the field and you're not doing any other class, taking any other classes. So this one prioritizes more getting into the field than anything. The last university that I saw was ITESO, which is Universidad Jesuita de Guadalajara, and it was founded in 1952. And there's very small school, 11,400 students. Also 8 semesters and 4 years. There is a required internship in the coursework. The grading scale is the same, 1 to 100, 70 is a minimum. And there is admission exams to get in. You have to be at the university to take the admission exams. I believe the other one we were talking about before was online admission exams. And some of the classes that they have include public communication, which is getting into the field of communication, communication law, understanding the law of communication, because it's very important, because as journalists, you're under scrutiny all the time from people. If you get something wrong, you need to learn the law of how that works. Public communication observatory means you're out in the field observing what is going on with other professionals and how they're using communication. Global trends in public communication. In journalism, you're looking at all the trends. It's kind of similar to the technology one, but you're looking at all the trends instead. Oral and written communication. There's a lot of communication classes basically in this journalism degree, more than any other ones. They're heavily focused on getting the communication part down, and making sure that as a journalist you know how to communicate well in the field, and they prioritize that over anything. And with internships, you're required to take one internship, and they dedicate one of the semesters at least be just all internship to get really into the field. And that's all.